a thought experiment involving a hypothetical prokaryotic terrestrial pioneer. Now consider the following imaginary scenario. Suppose that a hypothetical photosynthetic bacterium evolved that could adhere to virtually any terrestrial surface. Let's call it Laminatium adherens. These hypothetical wonders could somehow conserve water while allowing carbon dioxide to get in and oxygen to get out. In this thought experiment, L. adherens can utilize sunlight effectively, but is relatively resistant to temperature extremes, as well as mutations caused by ultraviolet light. The cells could survive periods of extreme cold, dryness, or absence of sunlight by forming dormant spores that could survive for a year or two until conditions improved. L. adherens could outcompete multicellular plants because, in our hypothetical scenario, it could adhere to any surface, including those plants, and be first in line to capture the direct rays of the sun. The question is, what would happen next? Perhaps if L. adherens could adhere to any surface, then by definition those cells would evolve ways to adhere to one another. But that would mean that the adhering cells that are in the most direct path of the sunlight would have an advantage because they could absorb the useful wavelengths of sunlight, and the cells covered by them would have less available energy and probably decreased ability to exchange carbon dioxide and oxygen with the atmosphere. This would presumably lead to an arms race between cells that can adhere to others and cells that could somehow prevent other cells from adhering to them. Or perhaps L. adherens would form aggregates in which the upper layers captured sunlight and fixed CO2, but natural selection would favor cells in the lower layers that could either fuse with the upper cells and extract their nutrients, or somehow attack those cells as consumers or parasites to make use of a ready-made source of energy and macromolecules. How does this imaginary species fare in relation to known biological principles? In fact, real-life ecologies that involve multicellular terrestrial eukaryotes are far more inventive than this hypothetical prokaryote. In the real world, life has repeatedly found better ways to exploit virtually every imaginable source of energy and nutrients. Among real-life prokaryotes, cyanobacteria are photosynthetic organisms with species that do form filaments, sheets, or hollow spheres. Also, in real life, terrestrial plants evolved from green algae. Green algae evolved from ancestral eukaryotes that engulfed ancient species of cyanobacteria.